It's a great question. Well, there's many risks out there. I think that in 2023, I believe that ransomware will still continue to be one of the biggest threats and risks for many organizations. Even though it did decline slightly in 2022, it is still a major risk. Ultimately, because if you do become a victim, it has a big impact to the business, and it has a business impact. Another risk that is also going to continue is around identity and credential compromise. That's something that I do believe will continue, but of course it is one of the attack path techniques rather than a risk by itself. It will always have some type of additional risk, whether it being deploying malware or data theft or ransomware. So I think that's for organizations is going to be something that they'll tackle and look to try to mitigate as much as possible. Absolutely. I mean, for all organizations, they might be slightly different because not every business is the same. And ultimately, it will come down to one of the most primary things that you can do is doing a risk assessment for your business. Knowing what the high-risk assets are, knowing about the applications and the data, and actually ultimately how technology helps your business be successful is understanding that. The better you understand the business side of things and how technology, let's say, empowers it, the more you can actually address it in the right way to mitigate that risk. So know your business, know the technology, know the services, and ultimately understand the impact of each of those. That's one of the first important things. The second part is then ultimately get into the access. We all talk about zero trust, but ultimately I believe that we need to go beyond zero trust to get to zero friction security. Zero friction is really where we actually empower users to be, let's say, part of the security culture in a business. So make sure that you actually go and understand about how you make security usable. That's also the next part, is making sure that users understand about what is, let's say, the right things to do in regards to gaining access, how to mitigate, how to choose better and smarter passwords. The third part is ultimately understand the business outcomes. You won't be able to get the budget you need to actually make these changes without showing how you actually apply it to the business and how the business can become successful. So we need to become almost translators of technology and cyber risks into business innovations and business enablement. So ultimately, that's one of the three things that I believe that organizations can do in order to, one is, know what the risks are, get the people involved to making security usable, and the third part is ultimately making sure you can actually measure it in a way that actually helps the business be successful, because that's ultimately how you would get the budget in order to put the right mitigation controls in place.